Hello my fellow page pamper, my name is Cora. Welcome to my channel, Pampered Pages, and welcome to today's video. Currently, we are at the Barnes to pick up a book that I have been waiting for a couple-ish of weeks. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
I also have my eyeballs on another title, so maybe 2 books will be brought home with me today. TBD. And then afterwards, we need to do a little bit of grocery shopping. But first things first, of course, the books. Today is absolutely the perfect day to do a little bit of book shopping and stay indoors and eat all the yummy warm foods because we are currently experiencing a bit of a cold front, and it's windy and it's drizzly and it's cold, and the vibes are calling for exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. Part of which includes some light reading.
This is light.
I ended up leaving Barnes & Noble with 2 books, as I mentioned mere seconds ago for you. The first book was a book, how many times can I say book? Quite a lot actually, that I ordered a couple of weeks ago, and it was finally ready for pickup. And then the other book was one that I've been wanting to read for quite some time, and my library doesn't have it yet, but I think it's also going to be a book, well, I do own it now, that I want to own. So fingers crossed, I enjoy both of these. One second, let me dig into this bag. Book number 1 is I Am Rebel by Ross Montgomery. This is Barnes & Noble's Book of the Year, and I picked up the exclusive edition. This is a story about a dog named Rebel who follows his owner Tom across war-torn Britain in order to keep him safe. That's the gist, per the blurb. And what I love the most so far is that on the very back of the book, right above the barcode, it reads, "No dogs die in this book," which just makes my heart feel a little bit more secure going into this one. Last time I was in Barnes & Noble, I read the first couple of pages, and the story is told from Rebel's POV, which I think I am also really going to enjoy. I'm not sure when I will eventually get to this book. I'm hoping sometime soon, very soon, TBD of course, and I also had some points, so this book ended up being pretty much half off. And book number 2, so as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I placed an order for this book in store. They had the paperback versions, but I preferred the hardback. It arrived. I picked up a copy of Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. If you watched my last video, which was my first chapter of the year book tag, I mentioned that Matt Dinniman is a new to me author that I am hoping to read this year, and his Dungeon Crawler Carl series is what I'm going to be reading. I mentioned in that video that I may have some pampered plans. These are those pampered plans. I am planning on starting Dungeon Crawler Carl today and sharing my first impressions with you all, my fellow page pampers. And I think what this video is going to be is more of a reading weekend in my life. I wasn't sure if I was just going to film today or today and tomorrow, but I feel like the vibes are calling for a continued filming for tomorrow, because I'm home today and tomorrow doing this, and I'm very, very excited. Now that all of those words are out, I am going to share with you the blurb for Dungeon Crawler Carl, because at this current point in time, I can't do it justice, and the blurb just reads very well. Are you ready? I hope you are. The apocalypse will be televised. Welcome to the first book in the wildly popular and addictive New York Times bestselling Dungeon Crawler Carl series, now with bonus material exclusive to this print edition.
Probably didn't need to read that.
Here we go. You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systemic exploitation of all the survivors for a sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they try to survive the end of the world, or just get to the next level in a video game like Trap-Filled Fantasy Dungeon, a dungeon that's actually the set of a reality television show with countless viewers across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magical potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas. This ain't your ordinary game show. Welcome, Crawler. Welcome to the dungeon. Survival is optional. Keeping the viewers entertained is not. I have quite a bit of thoughts already to share without even having read the first page. First of all, I've had 2 booksellers, when I was trying to find this book, tell me that they greatly enjoyed this book. You're pretty much, from what they said, thrown right into the action. There is not a lot of world building at the beginning. You're just right in. And they said it's really funny. And I'm here for both of those things. And also, it kind of reminds me of Fairy Tale by Stephen King, but not as serious, or maybe not as sad. I don't know, to be determined, but currently that is going to be what I read. Did you hear my shoulder pop? Oh my God. I am going to set some vibes and then report back. It's just going to be a cozy weekend in my life, filled with reading and books, of course. Not mad about it. Dungeon Crawler Carl Update Number One. I am about 40 to 50-ish pages in. I can't remember the exact number, but a lot's going on. The Earth is not earthing the way it was earthing. He's in the dungeon. He's learning things. That is all I will divulge at the moment. More to come, of course, but until then, I need some fuel, and by fuel, I mean fun. Got my book, got my sidekick, got my notes, got my retainers. They do this every year. And I've got my first impressions. Just based off the initial chapters that I've read, the story is told in first person, and you are learning along with Carl. There are moments when I've been like,
What the heck? What is that? Who is that? Where am I?
and Carl's thinking the exact same thing. So you learn about this new world, new experience right along with him. And Donut. With that being said, I currently have very many questions, which I'm hoping will be answered the more that I continue along. The writing is very fast-paced, very action-packed, and currently at this moment in time, I'm getting a mix of Hunger Games, Illuminae, fairy tale, Silo, Alice in Borderland vibes. That's just based off my prior reading experiences and television shows that I've seen. Probably, though, the biggest question that I would like to know the answer to is, who is this group of aliens, this entity of aliens? Are they aliens? I don't know. There's so much that I don't know. Carl doesn't know it either. Donut's just there. She's chilling. She's just trying to stay alive. She's hoping that human's going to make sure that she's fed and warm and whatnot. But maybe between the three of us, at least the two of them, we can figure this out. It's chaotic, it's immersive, and I'm having myself a ball, a grand old time. Right now, I have some cramps that are calling my heating pad's name. I also have my book, of course. So I'm going to jump in, and I'll see you tomorrow for another busy, big, bookish day. It's also going to be down in the 30s tonight. It's very windy. I'm loving it.
Tomorrow.
It is the afternoon. I had myself a cozy, chilly, at-home morning, slept in, got a little bit more reading done in Dungeon Crawler Carl, and now I am at the library. I got an email notification at 12:04 a.m. that I had a pickup ready, and I also am going to check and see if another book is here. It should be. I looked beforehand, but that's what I'm here for. Should be pretty quick, in and out. Famous last words. My library is poppin' today. Love that. I, surprise, have 3 books to share with you. So, long story short, I was about to leave and then I got the notification that I had another book ready for pickup. Perfect timing. It hadn't even hit the pickup shelf yet, so I went over to my library's friend's bookstore, hung out over there for a minute, and then when the rolly cart went away, I came to play. Up first is the book I initially went in to pick up, and that is Kiki's Delivery Service. I have never read this book, but I have seen the film. That movie was a staple growing up in my household. My siblings and I watched it plenty of times. And then the next book that I have checked out from the library is a book I mentioned in my last video. It's a book I would like to reread this year, and that is One Day by David Nichols. I think the last time I read this book was either 2011, 2012, maybe earlier. If I recall, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe the ending is really sad. So we shall see. I shall see. And finally, I have a book that was actually recommended to me by one of you guys. The username is Bratty Goblin. You left a very kind comment on my Lost Apothecary book trailer and review, and mentioned that you had recently read this book and that I might like it. It has similar sisterhood vibes. So I put it on hold, and this was the book that became available as I was leaving, and it is Cackle. I am very much looking forward to starting this book. I do think it sounds right up my reading alley, so thank you so much for the recommendation. I am feeling pretty optimistic about each of these books. One day, though, might send me in an emotional state of sadness, but I'll cross that bridge when and if I get there, now it's time for me to head back home and enjoy the rest of this day, this afternoon. It's quite hot in my car. It's chilly out there, but the sun is beating down in here. I want to get back, cozy up, and I will touch base with some more bookish updates then. Hopefully I don't have any walnuts and or chia seeds in my teeth. I had a granola bar. Dungeon Crawler Carl update. I feel like chapters 4 and 5 were pretty informative. I still have quite a bit of questions, just like Carl. There was a conversation that happened between Carl and another character named Mordecai. No spoilers, but they're speaking about the process of things. And Mordecai finishes his speech and then he asks Carl, does that make sense? And Carl replies,
None of this makes sense. But yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm on an intergalactic game show and I have to be an obnoxious show-off in order to get eyes on me. And once I do have eyes on me, I might get a loot box with toilet paper in it. Does that about sum it up?
that perfectly captured. None of this makes sense, but I also understand it at the same time. I'm having to be very careful on social media though. I want to avoid as many spoilers as I possibly can. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. But I have heard that the audiobooks for this series are really, really good. So I may just have to have myself an immersive reading experience at some point, see if I like it. But on its own, I'm digging it. I am there. Cannot wait to see what happens to Princess Donut and Carl. On another bookish note, I did finish reading The Mad Wife by Megan Church. This is another book I also spoke about in my last video. I did show it as well when I was at Barnes & Noble. It is a book I believe I do want to eventually own in my personal library. I did read it as an ebook through Hoopla, and I have so many quotes highlighted, and before I return it, I want to record some of them, if not all of them, in my reading journal. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the next few minutes. But I really, really enjoyed that book. That was my first book by Megan Church that I've read. She does have 2 other books out, I believe, and they are also on Hoopla. So eventually I would like to get to those. It was a very informative, sad, but also empowering read. The author's note at the very end left me buzzing and wanting to learn more, especially regarding women's health, women's mental health. So I enjoyed it. I knew that I probably would, but I did not realize how much. So that's up first on this bookish agenda. Do a little bit of reading journaling. And then I want to utilize my planner and jot down when all of my most anticipated releases are coming out so that I can have them in this format, because I have them on this format, but I'm very much a this format girly, typically. My camera is about to die, but I would deem that a successful journaling and planning experience. I very quickly was reminded of just how many of my most anticipated releases are coming out within the first half of this year. Very exciting. So many books to look forward to, so many books currently to look forward to continuing. Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I'm about to do right now. I made myself a little reading snack. I've lately been loving the ketchup chips from Trader Joe's, and you already saw I have my current library TBR going. So many books at this moment. So much time. Sometimes so little time. Just honestly depends on life, you know? Final update regarding my first impressions for Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about continuing this series. I am at this moment enjoying the dynamic between Princess Donut and Carl, and I'm looking forward to learning about this dungeon experience. I also have a feeling that more information about Carl will be divulged as he gets to know himself in this new setting, if that makes sense. But for these next few days at least, you can find me and my trusty sidekick immersed within these pages. I know there's so much to learn, more creatures to experience alongside Carl and Princess Donut. The most intense so far being lava-spitting llamas that deal drugs. On tonight's Pampered agenda, we are going to be having some vegetable soup. My husband is getting that started right now. We also have some leftover Costco rotisserie chicken that we're going to put in there. What else? Avocado, ton of vegetables. Then for dessert, we still have those triple chocolate muffins from Costco that are so good. Last night, I put a little bit of peanut butter on top and it was heavenly. And then later, much later this evening, I'm going to have myself a spa moment, maybe a hair mask, definitely a foot mask, heating pad all the way up, and of course, Dungeon Crawler Carl. With that closing statement, this shall be the end of these busy, big, bookish DIMLs / reading weekend in my life, etc. Let me know in the comments below if you have read Dungeon Crawler Carl. No spoilers, please. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you soonish. Bye!